यस मुलुकमा यो हाम्रो पहिलो आगमन हो। हामी हिजो बिहान मात्रै हवाई जहाजद्वारा यहाँ पुग्यौं र यस छोटो समयभित्र हामीले लन्डनको जे जति दिग्दर्शन गर्न सक्यौं त्यसको हामीमा गाढा छाप परेको छ। संसारको सबभन्दा कार्यशील नगरका कर्मशील सडकहरूबाट भई लन्डनका प्रसिद्ध इमारतहरूमध्ये पनि सबभन्दा प्रसिद्ध साथै एक सजीव इमारत यस भव्य ठाउँमा आउँदा हामीलाई विशेष खुसी लागेको छ, किनकि गत महायुद्धमा यसमाथि बम वर्षा भए पनि यसको विनाश हुन पाएन र अहिले यो अघिभन्दा सुन्दर भइरहेको भन्ने देख्ने सुन्नेहरूको धारणा छ।
I wish also to record on this occasion our profound appreciation of the great services rendered by the Secretary General Lieutenant to the cause of peace within and without the United Nations. I would therefore confine myself to more general observations which nevertheless are of fundamental importance to us. My country has come to the United Nations with as much faith in its organization as in its charter, with as much faith in its effectiveness as in its idea. For to a small country as mine, Mr. President, the United Nations represents the ideal as well as the practical. It satisfies us in so far as it helps us to work actively for larger unity and for peace and prosperity of mankind. It satisfies us also in so far as it secures us morally and materially against encroachment and interference from others. History tells us, Mr. President, that in spite of the dreamers from the big powers, small nations will stay with us for a long time to come. No conqueror ever succeeded in bringing the whole world under his heel. There were always small nations which refused to conform to his dictates or to his wishes. It is more than certain that small nations will survive the present atomic age also, and that they will be larger in number than the big nations. If this is so, it is necessary that the United Nations, while working with the cooperation of the big powers, which is no doubt essential, ensures that the small nations continue to have full confidence in it. To inspire this general confidence, the United Nations must exert itself seriously and be an effective instrument of peace. It can't be such an effective instrument, Mr. President, unless all people feel that justice is ensured to nations big and small, unless all nations big and small are in it, and unless indeed nations in general and big powers in particular are prepared to subordinate their narrow national interests to the larger cause of humanity. There has been no progress towards general disarmament. The partial nuclear test ban treaty, though a positive step, is at best an inadequate step. Again, there has been a positive development recently in the field of nuclear non-proliferation, as the United States and the Soviet Union have agreed on a draft. We have welcomed this as well as other positive developments, but this little progress made towards non-proliferation in the form of an agreed draft has been more than neutralized, Mr. President, by other developments in the two countries as well as in others, which have felt that the proposed treaty has failed to insist on adequate reciprocal obligations of the nuclear powers. However, the improvement in the Soviet-US relations is genuine. This relaxation of tension between the two countries should be reflected in the increased effectiveness of the United Nations. But that is not yet the case. The ever-explosive German problem has always remained outside the United Nations and has remained unsolved. The crisis in Vietnam, with all its attendant tragedy, has touched only the fringe of the United Nations because the Secretary General, more as an individual dedicated to the passionate pursuit of peace than as the spokesman of the world body. In this